Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co-host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And I am Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, y'all?
Welcome to another episode of Q Points, your safe space for meaningful dialogue around Black music and the bliggity Black artists that we know and love. Jay Ray, it feels like a month of Sundays since I last saw you. But we legit just did the show a week ago, but it feels like a lot of time has passed in between. Am I the only one?
No, you're not the only one. I was saying that to somebody earlier. It was either yesterday or today where I left town. So, I went out of town. You had a gajillion things going on this weekend. It feels like, and check it. I was only gone for maybe 36 hours. Maybe 36 hours. It wasn't super long, but yes, it absolutely feels like forever since I've seen you.
Man, listen, and then on top of that, we've got this winter spring weather mix going on. It's spring again here in Georgia.
Right.
Just for all of those that are outside of Georgia, it's spring again here in Georgia, and we're just trying to make it do what it do. Like you mentioned, last weekend was hella busy. Like after we did the show, then I had this Sugar Honey on the Rocks on Saturday, which is always a good time for me. I enjoy doing it. It don't even feel like work. It's just really me playing records for y'all, and that's the best thing that I could ever do. Oh, that Friday night, the Friday before that, I was at Vinyl. Thank God It's Vinyl. And saw a lot of people out there that gave us love. Whitney from Slow Drag showed us some love. Of course, the regulars, DJ Ghost, Johnny Dynamite, Yogi. I'm forgetting somebody's name, but the usual suspects. My crew held it down. And then to get up early to get ready for Sugar Honey on the Rocks, it just felt like there was a million things going on. And then on Sunday,
yes, let's talk about Sunday.
I clocked in for my new gig at Rocksteady Atlanta Caribbean Infused Restaurant, right there on Marietta Street. I post the flyer all the time when they send it to me. But I'm there for Sunday slow jams, R&B
Nice.
Sundays, slow jams, playing nothing but slow jams. If you're trying to hear Two Step by DJ Unk, that's not the night to ask for that.
DJ Sir Daniel is not giving you that for this particular. That's not that vibe.
That's not happening. And as a matter of fact, they tell you that there are no requests.
I live for that. Listen, one of the things I believe in as a dancer is letting the DJ do what the DJ going to do, child. Like, I am there to go on a journey. I am there to have a good time. I am not there to do what you do. That's what you do. I don't know why people do that.
And it's Sunday dinner. It's supposed to be a laid back vibe. Everything can't be hookah and turn up, y'all. So Live a little, experience something else, okay?
Yo, so can I tell you though? So Sugar Honey on the Rocks, we got to go there. So if y'all are not tuned in to Sugar Honey on the Rocks with DJ Sir Daniel on Saturday, it is truly a treat. One, that sound and that energy is together. Point blank, period. Let's just start there. Because listen, having the technical pieces down is important. Two,
Super important.
you know what I'm saying? You over on Mixcloud doing it. It's legal over there to play music. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal because artists can get paid based on, you know, when they clock in the streams. It's like the radio over on Mixcloud. So for those of you that don't know, that's dope that you're doing it there. And three, no problem, man. And three, like it was just so fun. So I was out in LA. I had landed in LA like right as you were getting started, or I got in the car right as you were getting started, and driving up the 405. I had never been on there. It's a lot of traffic.
Oh, wow.
Driving up the 405 is a lot. But I was listening to Sir Daniel. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. And I mean, you had, you know, everything in there. There was some Roxanne Shante. You had some Yo-Yo. You had Harmony. Yo, Harmony's Pound Cake is legend.
Yo, if you don't know about Pound Cake showing up on MTV, on Yo MTV Raps on Saturdays and sometimes on the evenings, yo, you're missing out. But luckily for y'all, both mixes, the first show and the last one, are posted on the Mixcloud page. So you can listen to the audio. You can stream the audio just as it was recorded last Saturday with all the songs that J. Ray and I are talking about. So yes, indeed. Man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, love. I appreciate that.
No problem. Like, and you know, thinking of, because that was the other dope thing, right? We're about to spend some time talking about A Tribe Called Quest, and we got a surprise for them. We ain't even telling them yet. Like, y'all don't even know what the surprise is yet. We got a surprise. But we're about to talk about Tribe, and what I loved about what you did on Saturday is it was that whole golden era. Yeah. The feeling, those songs have feeling that it's just different. It's just a different energy.
It absolutely is. It reminds me of my youth. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of a simpler time when, you know, we didn't have as much technology, but everything was just, everything felt fresh and new. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, we were reaching back for classics, you know, to create the music that was popular. And there were just so many, everybody felt that energy. Everybody felt like they could do and be a part of hip hop.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there was room for everybody.
There was room for everybody, for different styles, you know, different sounds. And that's just, you know, that's just something that we have to appreciate from that era.
Mm-hmm. That actually makes me think of the first time I heard Tribe, actually.
Talk about it.
So, as y'all know, okay, before we do all of that, so this is the last show in our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame series, everybody. We have been encouraging everyone who's listening, and we'll get the link in the chat in a second, to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame page and do a fan vote, right?
Yes.
To show support for the Black artists that are nominated. So we've already talked about Dionne Warwick, we've talked about Lionel Richie, we've talked about Fela Kuti, and today we're talking about A Tribe Called Quest. So don't even be playing. Y'all need to go vote and show love for the artists that we love and that have, like our surprise said in the conversation, have given us the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying?
Soundtrack for our youth, for our lives. Mm-hmm. Listen here. Well, you know, I was about to repeat something that I said, because y'all are gonna hear it anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about hearing Tribe, being introduced to Tribe through the whole Native Tongues posse. Mm-hmm. And one person that does not receive a lot of props for that is DJ Red Alert.
Oh
Cool
yeah.
DJ Red
Oh,
Alert was definitely the doorway
yeah, he was.
for the native tongues.
Mm-hmm.
Like they called him Papa Props because he really rode hard for the native tongues, and that included Queen Latifah,
Mm-hmm.
the Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest,
Mm-hmm.
Moni Love. I mean, the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
De La Soul, you know, and native tongues was really a true movement. You know, they really created a shift in hip hop culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that reminds me of exactly thinking about the first time like I encountered Tribe, and it was jarring because it was so different. So we're talking 1991. No, we're talking 1990.
Yeah.
And I was watching Pump It Up, D Barnes, you know,
Shout out to D Barnes.
shout out to D Barnes on Fox. Fox was still a new station back then and a new network. And it was late because that show came on late where I lived. It was like 11. It came on like 11:30 or something crazy.
Yep. Came on right before Showtime at the Apollo.
There we go. Yes. And I left my wallet and El Segundo comes on, which has this entire intro. And these four guys dressed in clothes that were different for the era, right? They weren't wearing kind of your traditional big chain. They didn't look like hip. They didn't look like what rappers were looking like then, right?
Yeah.
And Q-Tip, who I didn't know who that was at the time, but of course he proceeds to tell this fantastical story with this whole video that clocks the story at every point. And I was like, that's dope. Like, cause it was new. It felt new to me when I first saw them.
And so fast forward a little bit further to Can I Kick It? A moment in Tribe Called Quest history that I will never forget. And I'll never forget Arsenio Hall stood up for hip hop. In the middle of this is a national performance. I mean, this is huge for these kids. Remember, they're kids at this time. And this is a huge moment. They're on the Arsenio Hall show performing Can I Kick It? And some white dude is in the audience while Q-Tip and Phife are rapping their hearts out to Can I Kick It? It's like giving them the screw face and waving his head no and putting up fingers. Arsenio stopped it. Arsenio stopped the record and was like, hold up. These kids, he said, you don't have to like rap music, but you're going to respect what these kids are doing. And he stopped short and he got them to start over. And the audience like lifted them up. They stood up for them. And I will never forget that moment. That was a moment. That's why Arsenio Hall still is in our hearts to this day, because he really gave hip hop a platform that not a lot of people were giving at that time. And then on top of that, he stood up for hip hop for A Tribe Called Quest in that moment.
Oh my gosh, man. Like, I don't remember that moment. I'm sure I saw it. It's not jogging, but I'm going to go back and watch it. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. But to think about the fact that these young kids, because they truly were kids, were chopping these obscure sounds and creating some of the most lush production. Definitely shout out to Q-Tip and Ali for creating that moment, because I remember by the time we got to Bonita Apple Bum, like it was like, what's happening?
It was a wrap at that point. I think Bonita Applebum, just a cultural shift.
It was.
Because this is something that women, young ladies that loved hip hop finally got a song, a modern song that picked them up and made them feel like, oh, I'm Benny the Applebum, and they could rap along to the song and feel sexy, feel sought after because of this song. And so it was definitely a cultural shift. And that they had young women in the video with natural hair.
Yes.
And they were doing the whole bohemian, look with their clothes, and then they had girls with natural hair. So you started to see the girls feeling comfortable and switching up their looks. I mean, Tribe was a part of that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, when thinking about this particular group, I have a lot of fond Tribe memories. In particular, those first 3 albums, I do want to talk about. Low End Theory is just, dear goodness, like it was just joint after joint. That whole record from top to bottom is just incredibly solid. One of the funniest stories, this from the documentary, and it was Chris Lighty. Rest in peace to Chris Lighty. Such an architect, that one.
People forgot he was a Native Tongues member.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And he tells the story about I had to go take the record. Like, literally, Q-Tip would have kept working on the record had I not physically gone and taken it. So can you imagine, y'all? Can you imagine, Sir Daniel? Like, what we heard is what he would have kept tweaking that.
Imagine if that was 100%. What could he have done? But then again, we did hear a lot of fly remixes. Like, to me, the whole the Scenario remix. Y'all know what this face is.
Y'all can't see this face if you're listening.
I'll never forget hearing the Scenario remix on Rhythm and Vibes with Talib and, gosh, I can't remember his name. Anyway, they dropped that joint and it was bananas. It gave the record a completely different feel. They had a young guy on there. He died super after that record came out. He died very soon after that. I think he was either killed or something. But yeah, he set off the record. It set it off real crazy. He said a couple things that was kind of the side eye.
It was the 90s. That's a whole other show.
It's a whole nother show. But if we think back to it, they carried on the whole idea of remixes when remixes were remixes. They really gave us a whole nother record.
Yeah.
With that Scenario remix.
Yeah. The Scenario remix was nuts. But even when I think of Scenario as a launching pad, Busta Rhymes exploded. Like, the moment we heard "Row Row" like a dungeon dragon, it was like, oh no, that's the future. That's the future. Like, that joint was so next level at that moment. And it was a posse record that, you know what? It's funny. I mean, there were obviously posse records, but I mean, the Symphony, one of my favorite posse records, right? And this was in that vein of there was nobody that was like a slouch in the posse.
Nobody was lacking. I'm getting goosebumps still thinking about that. Can we talk about the video real quick?
Let's.
The video was next level. The video was kind of the precursor to what you are looking at right now.
Literally. Ain't that crazy?
I mean, and that was back in 90, what,
91? That was 91. 91. That record came out in 91.
Crazy. And another thing that they did, a lot of people give Missy Elliott credit for this, and she deserves all the credit that she gets. But Tribe did the whole introducing another record
At the end of
at the end of the video, and gave us that crazy ass Phife
microphone check 1 2. What is this? Phife.
I think he got 5 mics in the source for that verse. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say he got 5 mics for that verse.
Listen, and well deserved. So you know what, you're absolutely right. And remember, at that moment, they put on like the crazy plastic eye thing over too. Like the whole feel, y'all, of the video changed.
Futuristic.
Absolutely.
Futuristic. Yes.
Right. So what I love about what they were able to do was, of course, it was like you said, it was like a shift. And to get to Midnight Marauders, which I felt like was a refining of everything that they had done. Like Midnight Marauders just absolutely felt like, ooh, they have cooked to perfection now. This is it. But I don't even want to talk about the record yet. Can we talk about the cover?
Oh, get out of my head. Get out of my head, because I was thinking about the album cover. The album cover is legendary. Every and anyone who was anyone in hip hop was on that album cover. And if you weren't on the album cover, I'm certain that you were envious that you were not a part of that album cover.
Yes. So to describe the album cover for those who might not be familiar, if you're watching Q Points and you're not familiar with the album cover, I think that's weird, but welcome. The Midnight Marauders album cover with your hip hop elite from Jazzy everywhere. Jazzy Joyce, Africa Bambaataa, everybody you can think of. Even the West Coast Cats was on there, right? With the headphones and the big speaker behind them. And it was just images with the travel guide in the center, right? That red, black, and green feminine shape. The muse that kind of guided you through, right? So we pop in when we start getting spammed and bots. So I'm gonna block those right now. But so good, that's blocked. But thinking about that cover was just like, if you weren't on it, you have questions. Like, are you really a hip hop? Are you really a rapper or DJ or breakdancer?
I remember Joyce talk. Remember that time I Jazzy Joyce.
Absolutely.
And she talked about being on that album cover and and the stories behind it, which are too numerous to go into. But do you recall like a particular song off of Midnight Marauders that just resonates with a specific moment for you?
Wow.
Because I remember remember being a freshman at Georgia State University, absolutely hating Georgia State University. But I remember there's a Scully that Q-Tip has on in the Electric Relaxation video. I'll never forget, I went to the flea market and bought that Scully just because he had it on in that video. And I was like, oh, that's flavor, because we said things like that's flavor back. And I wanted that because they're pushing the culture. That's I'm like, oh, this is an up north thing. I'm representing up north down here in Georgia. So I'm gonna get that hat. And Electric Relaxation, just the video always put me in a good mood. And I'll just never forget that time in space. It always takes me back to Georgia State University.
Yeah, I think one moment, I think this helped to activate my activism around HIV stuff. So if you're familiar with Midnight Marauders, you know that after Sucker N-word, I don't want to get bleeped on YouTube or Facebook, they have a skit, which is a HIV awareness skit. And It is very matter of fact, giving you information about HIV. Of course, they used the word AIDS at the time. And for me, as a person who was already like initially activated into this activism in like 85 with That's What Friends Are For, and then we get, 90 with the Red Hot album. Now we're in 93 with
Let's talk about AIDS.
Let's talk about AIDS in 91. So now we're in 93, and like Tribe, who is a group that I really respect, is also sharing this information. So I remember wanting to do more around that activism based on hearing that. And that was just an interlude, kind of one of their Keep Bouncing interludes, which I also thought was dope. And I hope innovative. And I want artists to get back to, Janet did a lot of that, where the little string the album together with something.
Or even the remember even the voice memos.
Yes.
The voice messages from the okay, kids, back in the day we had actual answering machines. They were humongous. I don't have anything big enough around me right now. They were humongous. They had little cassettes in them. And you would spend a lot of time recording your outgoing message, and you, if you were real fancy, you had a good phone that you could remotely check your messages from, and you hear the little after each message, and they incorporated that in the albums. Mary did it on her album.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back voice messages on albums, y'all. That's the point I'm trying to make there.
Yo, I spent so much time doing voicemail. When I finally got my own phone, child, it was a thing. It was a vibe. You had music. And
did you ever rhyme on yours? Because I
didn't. You were the rapper.
I showed up with spitting a bar or two on my voice.
So, we have a surprise, but before we get to the surprise, I want to highlight something else that I think is also important to Tribe's legacy, and that is the national introduction of Jay Dilla happened through A Tribe Called Quest, right? So, thinking of, the fact that we got this brilliant producer, right?
Yeah.
Because they saw something in him. And so I'm reading Dilla Time right now, and it was Bob Power who mixed pretty much all of the Tribe, like who did all the engineering and mixing for the Tribe records. Talked about the fact of like, listen, when Dilla came in, he didn't get it. He was like, I didn't get what was happening. And I don't think a lot of us did, right, when he came in. But he was like, it was very clear that they were really into what he was doing. And of course, now we understand Dilla to have been another person. So if Tribe shifted the culture at that time, Dilla did it again, right? Yeah. And the fact that they saw that in him in a way to bring him into the fold by the Beats, Rhymes, and Life years is a big deal. So I wanted to lift up kind of the fact that they gave us the gift of Dilla and history.
We also got Lucy Pearl.
We got Lucy Pearl because of them.
Because of Tribe.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and for real, we kind of got the Soulquarians because of them. We kind of got basically what Raphael Sadiq has ended up doing, right? He was all within that movement. Like all of this stuff that we take for granted today, like these dudes was like on the vanguard of that thing. So Monique on YouTube just said, listen, I absolutely love A Tribe Called Quest. What an iconic group. My favorite album is The Love Movement. So thinking about what hip hop became right after the Love Movement, incorporating that kind of instrumentation that was happening on that record. And, so yeah, a lot of what we do today, they were on the vanguard of.
Even and we can take it a step further. I know we're gonna go to the surprise, but thinking about tours, concert series, because of Tribe, we got Smoking Grooves. We got, they made their way into the Lollapaloozas and, mainstream concerts, huge concerts, outdoor concerts. And we're talking about international touring on top of that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, hip hop was touring back then, but I mean, the international love for Tribe is otherworldly.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they go in for them in Asia, parts of Japan and whatnot, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Man. So, Sir Daniel, you had the pleasure of doing something cool that we're about to tell the people. Tell the people what we're about to experience.
So, first and foremost, I have to thank my plug, my sister, my right-hand woman, Peppermint Gaddy, for putting in the call for me and making this link. You know how sometimes you hear something in your mind says, "Ooh, do this," and you don't know how it's going to get done, but it's something's telling you that it needs to happen. That's exactly what happened, and we are about to talk to DJ Rasta Root, who was the tour DJ, manager, and friend, brother, executive producer of the producer of Phife's Forever album that comes out next week on March 22nd. DJ Rasta Root gave me some time, y'all. I got to talk to him and chop it up about none other than Phife Dawg, legendary member of A Tribe Called Quest. If we think about the bugging out aspect, like we talked about yesterday, that, like I said, was the moment that Phife shined, got his 5 mics in the source, and took off as becoming one of the most notable MCs in hip hop history. So, without further ado, Rasta Roots, ladies and gentlemen. Q Points family, I told you we have a special treat for you for this episode. In wrapping up our campaign for the nominees of the 2022 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we are honored to have somebody who has directly worked with a member of A Tribe Called Quest. And I'm sure we're going to find out that it's more than just him being his DJ, but we are lucky to have with us right now DJ Rasta Root. Welcome, brother. I thank you so much for joining me. Big up to Peppermint Gaddy for making this happen. Listen, that's my sister for sure. Yep. So listen, you made the announcement on Instagram the other night. You posted the album art for Phife Forever, which drops on March 22nd, next week.
Yes.
Tell us about what it took, just a little bit about what it took to piece the album together, to put it together, because you got people on there like Angela Winbush, De La Soul, Redman, Dwelle. The lineup is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, really, I think the most important component about creating this album or finishing this album was keeping in mind what he wanted for the album, down to the artwork, down to the typeset, down to the ideas for the cover art. What would be the aesthetic that Phife would have wanted? And so that extended, of course, the music. So luckily, everybody who's on the album featured, whether it was recorded when he was here or after, was somebody that he had an experience with, had a conversation with about being on his album, or just loved their music. So he had spoken to Rhapsody about her being on the album, loved her music, and we were able to call on those conversations. And she said, yes, he did talk to me, so I'm definitely down, whatever you need. Those kind of things happened to bring this album to the finish line. So I think what makes this album so great, beyond the music and creativity, is it's authentic Phife. It's not fabricated Phife. It's not what we think Phife would have wanted. It's not somebody coming in and just kind of putting it together so it sells or having features that don't really make sense in a Phife album. It doesn't have that. So everything you hear on there is literally Phife, and that's what I think that's what's going to make it such a great classic album.
So, and I mean, this is a testament to you because, Phife left us back in 2016, and you tell us about your relationship with him, how, when you started DJing for him, and because in order for you to be tasked with putting this album together and making sure that we get it as fans, and that's a heavy task. So that means there's a lot of trust within you. So tell us about your relationship with Phife.
I mean, definitely. So, I've met him over the years in the 90s, here and there when I was a fan and he was who he was in the group. And then, I moved to Atlanta in 97 and we hooked up in the studio and kind of like hit it off, lost contact for a little bit. And then maybe 6 months later, he called me through a friend for me to DJ a show for him because he had a solo show and he had no tour DJ. So I knew in my mind that I wanted to DJ for him and I was going to try and make the type of impression that would allow me to continue to be his DJ. So I knew what this opportunity could have been. I knew I wasn't taking it lightly. The call wasn't taken lightly. I knew this was a moment in my life that's pivotal, that could change my life, not necessarily financially, but just being a huge hip hop fan, to work with someone you admire or music you admire it's a dream. I say my life is sometimes a hip hop fairy tale because till this day, if, when Phife would call my phone or Tip would call my phone or Busta, whoever called my phone, I'd look at the phone and for a second I'd be like, this is
wait, like, is this really happening?
I mean, it doesn't get old. It doesn't get old, and that's not a fanboy. It's just like, I remember reading about these people and they were so removed from my life, you know what I mean? And my existence and the things you saw had nothing to do with my life and my experience. But somehow or another, God saw it fit for me to cross with him at the moment we did. And I look back in time and I think to myself, this had to have been ordained from before. This was not by chance, And you mentioned trust. That's an important part. I think me being with him for so long and being his friend for so long, half my life, you develop a love for that person, and it is trust. It's a relationship. We had relationship as far as producer, manager, friend, DJ. We were collaborators. All those things. We had those things, those roles for each other in our lives. So when I look at it now, you're right. Like, it would have taken a person like me, as involved in his life as I was, to be able to complete this album, because I remember our conversations and what he wanted, what he didn't want. And I have to dig back and really think, what would he want now? You know what I mean? And sometimes he was challenging. Sometimes had to be checked by his wife, not in a bad way, just like, well, remember he said this, you know what? You're right. Yeah, that's right. Because I can't remember everything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And to that point, the involvement, it's on the cover art, the back art, produced by the estate of Malik Taylor. Wife, family is involved. And so the reason why we do Q Points, we specifically talk about the legacies of these icons to us in the Gen Xers, the hip hop era, and do you feel like, especially us, because this is ours, this is our music, our culture, do you think we're doing enough to preserve the legacy of these legends, like, and properly honor them? Like, you already had it spelled out. You already knew what your task was to do with this art, with this project. But when you see other, like the people you named off, a Buster, Q-Tip, those people, do you think like we're doing enough? The people that are within hip hop, are we doing enough to preserve them, to honor them?
I think it's human nature. I think it's inherently human nature to take things for granted. It's inherent for humans to like be complacent at times with acknowledging and remembering the value they have on something. So whether it's a person or could be even a pet or a skill set. Sometimes you have a skill set that you don't hone in on or you neglect and it goes away. it's almost like you don't really honor your blessings, you know? And these people and these beings and these creators that are put in our lives that have created our soundtracks are blessings, you know what I mean? And if we were to view them as blessings and we were God-fearing the way we should be, then we would totally honor them, not by just posting on your Instagram, happy birthday to so-and-so, or this album was great. There's other ways to do it, and we've been lazy in trying to be creative in how else can we honor these people and give them their roses. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And when the album does come out, how are we celebrating the album? Like what's the rollout like, because Phife was somebody that was embraced internationally. And so as far as the album, when it comes out, how do we get to celebrate as a community with this?
Well, there's going to be a friends and family listening party that we're going to stream in Atlanta on Monday. We're just working the details out on the stream part of it. He was very much a lover of his fans, so we don't want to not include them in that. And then on the 23rd, there's a Q&A release party in New York with Peter Rosenberg and the family. I think I'll be there and a couple other people. And we just want really people to take a moment, really, when you get the music and you download it or stream it, just sit and listen to it from top to bottom, front to back. Like the way we laid it out, it's very much a story, very much flows. It's interconnected by different, transitions and interludes that make sense. So my thought is I wanted this album to be a total listening experience, because Phife's pen is very much graphic. So he's a storyteller. So when he's saying things in his raps, you really can visualize it. And I didn't realize that about him until doing the album, that he is I see why he's a fan of Slick Rick's and all these other storytelling rappers, because that's what he does too. He tells very vivid stories,
Yeah. So earlier I mentioned about, the Gen Xers and how, A Tribe Called Quest as a whole impacted us. When I'll never forget when we got the news about Phife transitioning, Mark Arum here in Atlanta, Mark Arum of the WSB, for those people outside of Atlanta, our WSB TV has a traffic guy, and he would intertwine raps into his morning traffic reviews, and he did the most excellent Phife verses in it, and I was like, that is a testament to what Phife, to what A Tribe Called Quest means to us and to these upcoming generations. Before we leave, can you just speak to the whole A Tribe Called Quest being honored or being nominated, and why it's important for us to vote for A Tribe Called Quest and vote for all the Black artists that were nominated, because just to honor the work that they've done, to let them know why it's important.
I mean, I think the most important reason is because we are usually underrepresented at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it's rare that you see a person of color, being honored like that. And granted, we don't need them to feel like we're the shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But as an artist, it's worked hard, and we created rock and roll, so why can we not own it too? You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. So I feel like, yes, we should vote, but we should also understand that our vote, if I'm not mistaken, our vote counts as one of 250 votes. The fan vote does.
Yes.
So even though we might have a landslide, voting where Tribe might be number one, or, whoever else, Fela, whoever might be number one, doesn't mean that it's going to sway the vote. It's going to go that way, So we have to there's some realities to that. You have to be prepared for that, those people who are in that secret committee are going to vote how they're going to vote. However, showing that support and seeing those numbers go up when you look at the fan voting page, that is a way of honoring them. That's a way of showing that you're paying attention, that you're noticing. I see you. You know what I mean? It's the I see. You know what I mean? So, like Phife said, never let a statue tell me how nice I am. It's kind of the same thing where I know what my talents are. I don't need a statue or a person or anybody to tell me how nice I am. So, yeah, we don't need it, but it's nice to have the little pat on the shoulder. This is dope. I think Tribe deserves it. I think a lot of groups deserve that. I think there's a lot of smaller groups that should be honored small groups that had one or two songs that were small pieces of the puzzle that created that feeling for the 90s. The 90s wasn't just Tribe and NWA and these bigger artists. It was those plus everybody else who filled in the gaps that made it this. So you have to give credit to even the smallest group, like a Boogie Monsters, who had a song Recognize Thresholds of Negative Stress, which is one of my favorite songs. It does something spiritual to me, and I don't know what it is when I listen to it. It does something to me, and I can't explain it to this day.
The Push Babies, people like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just something about as soon as I hear those songs, and I'll be like, it takes me right back to where I was when I first heard it or what I felt back then. And that's the power of music. And that's why I don't discount any of these artists that have had one song. They might have one hit song. To me, they still should get the same credit.
Absolutely. DJ Rasta Root, man, I appreciate you so much just for taking this time to talk to us, talk to the Q Points family. You're a busy man. Congratulations to you and the whole estate, the family, for getting this project together. March 22nd, we got Fight Forever, and we want to thank you especially for helping with that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And shows like these were also a way of honoring people. There's people that are your viewership that don't know who I am, and so this is a way of exposing them to people like myself and other people in the scene that are impactful and have done their part, but may not get the accolades that they might deserve. So I appreciate you, and I applaud you, and I thank you, and I thank your viewers for taking the time. And any way I can help to move your movement forward, just let me know, and I'll be glad to help.
Will do. Thank you so much, man.
Sure, man.
Wow.
Where's my applause button? I used to have an applause button.
Yo, this is two in a row, man.
And you, Sir Daniel, I'm gonna big you up. You're so good. Well, I knew this already. You're so good at Sir Daniel. I'm talking to everybody. Isn't Sir Daniel an amazing interviewer? Give him some love. He deserves it all. He's good at this.
I appreciate that. I really do. And I really enjoy it because I'm legit curious. I am legit a student of this culture, of the movement. Rasta Root said something so important about how the 90s and this culture was just not built on large groups like Tribe, NWA. There are people in between who may have only had one hit song, but they're part of the hip fabric of hip hop too. And that's why I do what I do on Saturdays. That's why I play what I play on Sugar Honey on the Rocks. Because you may not, and I say it on the show, I say, hey, even if you don't recognize the song, it's okay. Yeah. Because this is hip hop. We're here to learn about, learn something new, learn about people who have, the people that are here today are standing on their shoulders. So yeah, I absolutely felt him on that. And maybe it's the DJ connection because that's something that we understand. But yes, absolutely right, man. These people have been dropping all kinds of gems on our Q Points family.
Absolutely. That idea of the pieces of the puzzle really resonated. Because we talked about this, I think we may have mentioned it. We often mention it, but I know that it came up within the last couple of shows, is the fact that these artists matter. It may seem insignificant to folks, but it's not. Because behind you on that rack and behind me on this rack, there is someone who may have only blown commercially that one time. Let's bring it to native tongues right now. The Choice Is Yours is still on the radio
to this day.
Monster of a song, right? You know what I'm saying? I know Hair Flavor of the Month. That was the first single. I love that song too, but Choice Is Yours by Black Sheep is still on the radio today, right now. And Black Sheep mattered. They helped move the culture to a new place. And we got to honor those folks, man, for all the work that they put in, for what they helped to build.
hey, I want to honor us because Q Points is doing our part to bring these memories to the forefront and it's honoring people. So if you have not clicked that link yet to cast your votes for Dionne Warwick, Lionel Richie, Fela Kuti, and of course A Tribe Called Quest, please do so now. Dolly Parton did her just due. Dolly Parton said, you know what? I'm not even worthy of this right now. I'm pulling out. There's people on here that deserve to be nominated and inducted way before me. And, shout out to her for that. But we really still need to vote and make our voices heard, with regards to these people that we love.
Yeah. And before we get out of here, one thing I do want to acknowledge, for the folks that are listening and watching, right? We spent a lot of time on kind of the front half of the Tribe catalog and not the back half of the Tribe catalog. I want to lift up the fact that there's so many gems on the back half of the Tribe catalog as well. Yeah. And that represent the growth of the group. And so I don't want that to be lost as well. I think the one of the most important reasons why I do truly feel like they deserve to be inducted is because they are a group that we watched them evolve and change and grow and watch their sound evolve and change, kind of without fear, like, showing up. I left my wallet at El Segundo, like we said at the beginning, with these dudes that didn't look like hip hop dudes. Yeah. They didn't look like 1990 hip hop dudes, right? To show up and do that, and then to become kind of the incredible artists that they have all become on their own right? Like Jerobi, Q-Tip, Phife, and Ali, right? You know what I'm saying? Yes. They all became kind of their own entities. We have to celebrate that. So I just wanted to make sure that we show love as well to the back half of the catalog, because there's a bunch of gems on the back half of the catalog too. So if y'all haven't heard them last three, the Beats, Rhymes, and Life, the Love Movement, and the Thank You, We'll Take It From Here record. I probably got the title wrong because it's a lot of words. We got it from here. Thank you for your service. Look, I just combine words together, right. But just wanted to show some love to that as well.
Absolutely, because to your point, those later records show that they still weren't afraid to take risks, because a lot of the solo joints, like Tip, for instance,
crazy.
He took a huge risk.
He did
with Vibrant Thing and
Breathe and Stop,
and the joint about riding in the car. Those are some pretty ballsy moves for someone to do on their own. On top of that, because those were solo joints. And so but that's a testament to all of them, like you said, to all of them. And then that's what makes you a game changer, I guess. That's what makes you iconic, and and the vanguard of one of the vanguards of hip hop to this day. So shouts out to Q-Tip, Ali, Phife, Jerobi, just the whole Native Tongues, that whole era, man. Flavor Unit came out of that. It's just so much came from that movement, that moment in time. And I'm so lucky that we were there to experience it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Sir Daniel. I apologize for that. I think the other thing, and we probably need to just do a Native Tongue show. The other thing about that movement, I think that's funny to remember, is it wasn't very long. And there's not a lot of collaborative output as a result of it. It was in a lot of ways theoretical. It was like theoretical, more than it was kind of like a solidified thing. And I think that's interesting because we still remember the Native Tongues movement fondly, but Buddy is kind of the main thing. You know what I'm saying? When you think about that era.
That's really their posse cut. Yeah.
That's really their posse cut. And which Queen Latifah sung on that joint. It was just a lot that happened, you know what I'm saying, as it relates to that. But yes, I feel like we do probably need to do just a native tongues. And then there was almost like a resurgence of it, you know, Talib Kweli, and it was like a whole thing in the early 2000s that I would like to revisit. I think I'm remembering that history properly. So I think that would be fun. We probably got to do a native tongue show and just kind of break that down.
You know, I'm with it.
And talk about Prince Paul. Prince Paul.
Prince Paul, wow. From Stetsonic to, I mean, just giving us all Wu-Tang classics.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
Paul did,
And there's so much to the Prince Paul legacy. Do you remember the Handsome Boy Modeling School? This is a departure, but do you remember the Handsome Boy Modeling School?
I do. Was that that was kind of like our introduction or a kind of a doorway for like the Kanyes and the Pharrells to come through.
Dan the Automator and him did this kind of collaborative effort that they called Handsome Boy Modeling School, and it brought in it was just dope. Like, it was super dope. So they had 2 joints. We got a lot to talk about. Okay.
Yeah. Look, we are up against the top of the hour. So that means we're not going to keep talking your heads off, because we can keep talking. If you know us, you know we can keep talking, especially about music that we love. But please remember, as it's coming up on your screen to become a Q Points Insider, just click the link. Click the link right there to become a Q Points Points Insider, and then also stream us on your favorite place to listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts. But more so, click on that Podchaser, because Podchaser helps us out.
For real.
Give us a nice little rating. It's like, kind of like Uber ratings for podcasts. You give us a nice Podchaser reading, that gives us more stars. You push us up to the forefront. You know, the next thing you know, you see your boys on top and being interviewed all over the world. You know, but please, the link is right there. Subscribe on YouTube. Some of y'all are watching on YouTube tonight. It's just the best. We appreciate you. We really, really do. We absolutely do. Thank you so much, DJ Rasta Root, for your time. Peppermint Gaddy, I see you. I know you watching. I love you. Thank you so much for doing that, for linking us. And don't forget, Sugar Honey on the Rocks on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're in Atlanta, you can come by and see me at Rocksteady on Sunday evenings for some R&B Sunday slow jams with DJ Sudan.
I love it. Yo, this has been super dope. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us once again. And Sir Daniel, what you got for the people? You got to leave the people with the gem.
It's what I always tell y'all. In this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I'm Sir Daniel.
I'm J Ray, y'all. Peace.
This has been Q Points. We'll see you next week.